Good afternoon and welcome to the Asian Midday Market Watch. Our guest today is David Kuo, the founder of the Smart Investor out of Singapore. David, as always, great to have you here on the Friday.
Thank you. Yes, thank goodness it's Friday.
Now, before we get your sagely advice, let's first take a quick look at crypto markets and then let's take a look at regional markets. Now, we're going to start with crypto markets. And of course, crypto markets continue to rise. Bitcoin is at 63,080. However, today it's down 3.01%. Ethereum is at 4,152.84, down slightly, 0.36%. If we take a look at how regional markets are performing, the Nikkei is at 28,767.56. It's up 0.21%. The Shanghai Composite is at 3,598.18. It is up 0.09%. The Hang Seng is at 26,132.90. It's up 0.44%. The ASX 200 is at 7,413.5, down slightly, 0.03%. The Kospi is at 3,008.98. It's down slightly. It's up slightly, 0.05. And closer to home, we've got the Straits Times Index, which is at 3,199.81. It's up 0.35%. And rounding up the numbers, we've got the FBM KLCI, which is at 1,585.46. It's down slightly at 0.39%. David, your thoughts on market performance across the region this morning?
Well, I would say that the markets are pretty resilient at the moment, given what we're hearing about COVID and this new variant of the Delta virus. Well, the Delta variant, they're calling it the Delta Plus variant. So the Delta variant was a variant of the original Alpha virus, and then now we're getting this Delta Plus variant. So I guess people are a little bit concerned, and they're saying, what the devil is this new virus that's suddenly amongst us at the moment?
So one of the things, David, is with that, we've all been worried about the growth prospects, particularly in ASEAN, because several nations in ASEAN have been hit pretty hard. However, you've got markets like Malaysia, who have really started to open up. We've got obviously Singapore, which has opened up but has challenges. What's your view on how this is going to impact growth, particularly because we've got a few worrying trends globally? We've got higher energy prices. We've got issues out of China with Evergrande, even though they made their bond payment that was overdue. They've just made that this morning. The news came out that they paid that this morning. What are the things that are worrying you now in the global markets?
Well, there's not an awful lot that is worrying me, but what I do keep a close eye on is consumer confidence. And I want to know how confident the consumers are feeling. And let's not forget that in most economies, Brian, the consumer is the people, the group of people that drives the economy. If the consumers aren't confident and they don't go out spending money, then it is very difficult for any economy to grow. Whether you're talking about Singapore over here, Malaysia, Thailand, anywhere in the world, people have to feel confident that they will have a job to go to, confident that they can actually meet their financial obligations, and confident that it is safe to go out. And what we're hearing at the moment is that consumer confidence is back up to pre-pandemic levels. So that, for me, suggests that the global economy is going to be okay. But that doesn't mean, of course, that there won't be potholes along the way. And the Delta variant, the Delta Plus variant that I just talked about, is one of those potholes. And the question is, how do authorities, how do governments manage this and try and convince people that, sure, we are going to be getting these variants along the way, and as a result of that, we're going to see an increased number of cases and maybe an increased number of deaths amongst those people, but it's just normal. It is just okay.
So, David, the other thing that's worrying all of us is really inflation. Now, on one hand, you have the large consumer companies which you invest in, like Nestle, who basically are saying and giving forward guidance that we're going to have inflation. Then on the other side of the equation, we have the policymakers who are saying, hey, inflation is transitory. Don't worry about it. It'll work itself out. What's your view of this?
Well, the thing is, it's not just Nestle's that's come out and said it. I mean, Danone has come out and said it. Procter and Gamble has said it. Unilever has said it, and they're all saying that there is cost pressures out there, and they're going to have to try and find some way of passing on those increased costs to consumers. And to be honest with you, I believe them more than I do the central banks. I just think that the central banks are trying to walk this tightrope at the moment. They don't want to increase interest rates. We know that, because if they were to increase interest rates, then there is a huge possibility that whatever recovery we have been experiencing, we've been enjoying, will be taken away from us. They'll just pull the rug from under our feet if they were to increase interest rates. So the central banks have no option but to tell us that, yes, it's only transitory. It'll eventually fade away. But the companies are saying something completely different. But who do I believe? I believe myself. I go out and I have a look. And I just try and sort of gauge for myself whether or not prices are increasing out there. And to be honest with you, when I go out to food courts and hawker centers, prices are increasing. I've mentioned this
you're in
before.
Singapore, I'm in Malaysia, prices
Yeah.
are increasing as well.
Well, exactly. So therefore, there is inflation in the system. And we just saw today that Malaysia's inflation numbers was 2.2%. It was only 2% last month, but they say, oh, a lot of these price increases was due to energy costs going up. But to be honest with you, not only energy costs were going up, but chicken was going up in price as well. So if you're going to go and have your curry ayam, that's going to be a little bit more expensive, because I mean that food preparer is going to have to pass on that cost to you.
And David, in parts of the world, shipping a container has gone up 20 times in the last 12 months. So
Yeah.
it's 20 times the price that it was 12 months ago. And so those are the kind of cost pressures that essentially the supply chain disruptions are causing the rest of the economy.
Oh, of course, yeah. So there is inflation out there. But as an investor, I feel quite comfortable that I am invested in stocks, in shares, in companies that have the ability to pass on that price increase. So it's a bit like going to your hawker center. You want curry ayam? You want curry chicken today? Well, it's going to be a little bit more expensive. Either that, or he's going to give you one piece less of chicken when you are eating your meal. I mean, either way, it is inflation, because if you're getting less for what you paid previously, that is inflation. So you have to be very aware of inflation out there.
Now, David, then looking ahead for the rest of the year, we're in October, we've got 2 months to go. What are the key things you're watching out for?
Yeah, believe it or not, I'm actually sort of very closely monitoring Bitcoin prices, right? Not that I'm a Bitcoin investor, but I use the Bitcoin as a kind of contrarian indicator on what is going on out there. The mere fact that Bitcoin keeps on going up in price tells me that there is a lot of liquidity in the market. There's a lot of money in the system. It's a bit like if I were to give you $1 million today, right, Brian, and I just put $1 million in your bank account, you're going to think about, oh, I'm going to go on holiday. Whereas previously, I might go on holiday in Singapore, or maybe in Malacca or Ipoh. Nope, I'm going to go somewhere else this time. I'm going to go to the Maldives, right? And I'm going to travel first class because I have so much excess cash. And I think what the Bitcoin is telling me is that there is a lot of excess cash, a lot of excess liquidity in the system. And as long as Bitcoin keeps on going up, it means that liquidity is still swirling around. Only when I start seeing Bitcoin start coming down in price, then I will think, okay, that liquidity is slowly being withdrawn and people are being a bit cautious, and you're not going to go to Maldives first class, but instead you're going to come to Singapore by bus, right?
David, as always, it's a pleasure getting your insights on this Friday afternoon.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Now, we've been speaking to David Kuo, the founder of the Smart Investor in Singapore, on Biztech Asian Midday Marketwatch. I'm Brian Fernandez. This video will be on our various social media platforms as well as our website, www.biztech.asia. Please like and subscribe to our various platforms. Thanks again for tuning in.